British Airways flight evacuated on runway at Paris Airport over direct security threat. Dozens of security vehicles, armed police and firefighters surrounded the Airbus A320 as passengers were ordered to move single file onto the runway. British Airways passengers were flanked by armed officers and searched by sniffer dogs after a direct security threat sparked the sudden evacuation of a London-bound plane. Travelers were escorted from flight BA320 at Charles De Gaulle Airport, in Paris, this morning. The incident is now being reported as a false alarm by police after dozens of security vehicles, armed police and firefighters surrounded the Airbus A320. The pilot announced there had been a direct security threat before those on board were ordered to move single file onto the runway. It appears the flight, now more than 4 hours delayed, will not be taking off and passengers will be forced to book onto a later flight. The threat comes just 2 days after 3 fresh attacks against London and France in 24 hours. An improvised explosive device was detonated on a packed tube train in Parsons Green, London, on Friday morning. In the same day, in Paris, a knife-wielding man shouting ISIS slogans attacked a French soldier and an attacker in Chalon-sur-Saône, in eastern France, injured 2 women in a hammer attack while screaming Allahu Akbar. James Anderson, a passenger escorted from the BA flight his morning, told Mirror Online, "Initially the pilot told us there were technical issues. We were waiting on the plane for around an hour. We were then told the aircraft had to move to another part of the airport. That's when we noticed police and fire vehicles quickly surround the plane and dozens of armed officers and firefighters got out." The pilot then said there had been a direct security threat involving our flight specifically. "We had all our carry-on bags searched, given all clear, we're now going through the body scanners and x-rays, and then we will have to identify any hold luggage that belongs to us. They need to make sure everybody and everything has been searched. They're being extremely thorough and we're being escorted by armed officers. It was pretty intense disembarking the aircraft though. We had to step off the aircraft and form a single line with armed officers by the side of each of us with dogs. People were quite calm, most likely as a result of the way the pilot handled the situation." An airport official said passengers were evacuated for a security reason and confirmed the incident is being dealt with. Earlier, James tweeted, "On British Airways flight BA303, currently being held on tarmac at Paris due to security threat, surrounded by police and fire vehicles. Apparently an individual has made a direct threat to this aircraft. We will all be led off the aircraft and baggage searched in due course. Everybody's been individually searched by armed officers and given all clear. Now hold luggage being searched by dogs." A British Airways spokesman said, "The safety and security of our customers and crew is always our top priority. Additional security checks are being carried out as a precaution. We would never operate a flight unless it is safe to do so." 22 people were injured when a homemade bomb went off on a crowded District Line train at Parsons Green Station, in London, on Friday, sparking a stampede as commuters ran for their lives. Witnesses told of scenes of panic as the blast sent a fireball and wall of flame through the carriage. Most of the victims suffered flash burns while others were injured as in a stampede as people were knocked over and crushed in the bid to escape. None were thought to have been seriously injured when the device, a white bucket containing wires and reportedly a timer, exploded at 8:20 am. In Paris, a knife-wielding man shouting Islamic State slogans attacked a French soldier carrying out anti-terrorism duties in the French capital. The assault next to the Châtelet underground station, the largest in Europe, took place just after 6:30 am. The unidentified man is said to have rushed at a patrol of soldiers wearing combat uniforms and brandishing assault rifles. A source said, "He was restrained, and nobody was injured." The man now faces terrorism charges. and just hours after the Paris incident, 2 women were attacked by a hammer-wielding man moments apart in the commune of Chalon-sur-Saône in eastern France. The assailant was dressed in black and shouted Allahu Akbar, God is greater, as the attack unfolded in the city center just before 12 p.m. The man fled and was still being hunted by police as of Friday afternoon. One of the victims was slightly injured after being struck in the head.